The music is loud. Lights are bright. Guests hold their phones up, taking videos. At the entrance of a huge wedding hall, a girl stands alone. Her name is Grace. She holds a small gift with both hands. Her old, faded pink dress is neatly ironed. The fabric is worn, but clean. She holds the dress at the waist, trying to hide a tiny tear near the side. A rich girl in a white bridal gown walks toward her, surrounded by bridesmaids. This is Olivia, the bride. Her dress shines with diamonds. Her makeup is perfect. Everyone moves out of her way like she is a queen. Olivia looks at Grace from head to toe and stops walking. Olivia, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Wait, what is that?" Her friends giggle and look at Grace's dress. Bridesmaid, laughing, "Is that vintage or just very, very old?" Olivia steps closer. She lifts the edge of Grace's dress with 2 fingers like it is something dirty. "Olivia, who invited you?" We said formal, not garbage sale. Guests turn and stare. Some whisper, some record. Grace's hands shake. She looks down at the floor. Her eyes fill with tears. Grace softly, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was a dress code. This dress is special to me." Olivia rolls her eyes. "Olivia, special? It looks older than my grandmother. This is my wedding, not a charity event." The camera flashes. People laugh. Grace bites her lip. She holds a small gift tighter. What no one knows is this. That old dress once belonged to someone very important in this family. And in less than 1 hour, this same poor girl in her ugly dress will decide whether the rich bride is saved or completely destroyed in front of everyone. If you saw this moment, whose side would you be on? A few minutes earlier, Grace got off the bus 2 streets away. She could not afford a taxi. She stood outside the wedding hall for a long moment. She looked at her reflection in the glass door. Grace whispered to herself, "You can do this. Just give the gift, say congratulations, and leave." She touched the dress gently. Grace in her mind, "Aunt Lily, I kept my promise. I wore it on a special day." Aunt Lily. That was what Grace used to call Daniel's mother years ago. Daniel is the groom today. Grace's mother had worked as their maid for many years. Little Grace grew up in that big house. Daniel and Grace used to play together when they were kids. One rainy day, many years before, Aunt Lily had given Grace this dress. Lily had said, "Grace, this dress is old, but I loved it. One day, when you feel brave and special, wear it. Promise me?" Grace had smiled and nodded, but then Aunt Lily got sick. Very sick. She died a year later. The family moved to a bigger house. Grace's mother stopped working there. Life changed. Now, years later, Daniel was getting married. He had invited Grace through a simple message. "Daniel, you were family once. Please come if you can." Grace had cried when she read that. She knew she had to go. She could not buy a new dress. So she opened a small box and took out this pink dress, Aunt Lily's dress. And now, here she was, standing in front of the same rich family that once treated her kindly. But times had changed. Inside the hall, everything looked like a dream. Crystal chandeliers, white flowers everywhere, golden chairs, a long red carpet, music, laughter, perfume in the air, rich guests in shining clothes. Grace walked slowly along the wall, trying not to disturb anyone. She held her small, simple gift, a framed photo of young Daniel with his mother, printed from an old picture she had saved. Then she saw him, Daniel, in a black suit, talking to some business guests near the stage. His smile was polite, but his eyes looked tired. Grace smiled a little, but she did not go to him. She felt shy, out of place. That's when Olivia saw her. Olivia had always loved attention. Expensive brands, new phones, big parties. Now she was marrying into money too. She noticed the poor girl in the old dress, and her eyes lit up with a cruel idea. Olivia, to her bridesmaids, "Watch this." And then she walked straight to Grace. We already saw what happened next. The insult, the loud voice, the laughs. The old dress lifted like trash. Grace tried to stay calm. Grace, voice trembling, I'm sorry if I look wrong. I just want to congratulate Daniel. My mom used to work for his family, and Olivia cut her off. Olivia, so you're the maid's daughter? Wow, no wonder. Everyone heard that. Grace froze. Maid's daughter. The words hit her heart like a stone, but she stayed polite. Grace, yes, but they always treated us with respect. Daniel's mother was very kind to us. Olivia scoffed. Olivia, well, things are different now. This is not some middle-class gathering. Please stand at the back and try not to ruin the photos. Her bridesmaids laughed again. A few guests looked uncomfortable, but no one stepped in. At that moment, Daniel turned and noticed a crowd at the entrance. He saw Grace. He saw Olivia's expression. He walked over. Daniel, Grace? You came. His face softened. For a second, he looked like the boy from years ago. Grace smiled weakly, wiping her eyes quickly. Grace, hi, Daniel. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. Daniel noticed her dress. His eyes widened. Daniel softly, is that my mom's dress? Grace nodded. Grace, whispering, she gave it to me. She told me to wear it when I feel brave. Daniel's throat tightened. For a second, tears filled his eyes. Olivia saw his face and felt jealous. She grabbed his arm. Olivia, too sweet. Honey, is everything okay? Your guest was just leaving. The words were like a knife. Grace's heart sank. Daniel hesitated. He was caught between his fiancée and his past. He forced a smile. Daniel, no, it's okay. Grace can stay. She's an old friend. Olivia pulled his hand a little tighter. Olivia, smiling fake, of course she can stay. At the back, far from the cameras. She turned to Grace and whispered in her ear, serious now, with cold eyes. Olivia, low voice, don't even think about talking to my guests or coming near my photos. Understand? Grace felt small, invisible. She just nodded. Grace walked quietly to a corner near the back row, where no one would see her dress. But one person had seen everything. Mrs. Carter, Daniel's aunt, who had raised him after his mother died, watched from across the hall. Her jaw was tight. Her eyes were hard. Mrs. Carter, in her mind, Lily always taught this boy to respect everyone. I wonder what kind of woman he is marrying. She looked at Grace with concern. Grace sat down, placing the small gift on her lap, trying not to cry. The music got louder. The planner called everyone to take their places. The ceremony was about to start, and no one knew that a disaster was coming. A disaster that money, power, and expensive brands could not stop. Behind the stage, in a private dressing room, Olivia stared at herself in the big mirror. Her dress was stunning. A famous designer had made it. The train was long and heavy, covered with tiny crystals. Olivia, smiling to herself, perfect. No one will outshine me today. The wedding planner, Mia, rushed around with a headset on. Mia, okay team, 10 minutes. 10 minutes until the bride walks. Makeup artists packed their brushes. Florists fixed last-minute petals. Suddenly, Olivia bent to adjust her heel. Rear up, a sharp tearing sound cut through the room. Everyone froze. Olivia's eyes went wide. She slowly straightened and looked at the mirror. A long tear had opened at the side of her wedding dress, all the way up from her waist. Olivia screamed. Olivia, what was that? No, no, no. Mia rushed over. Mia, don't move. She looked closely, and her face turned pale. Mia, the seam tore. Oh no. Olivia grabbed Mia's arms. Olivia, panicking, fix it, now, do something. Mia, trying to stay calm. Okay, we just need a needle and thread. Where's the on-site tailor? I asked for him to be here. An assistant ran in. The tailor is stuck in traffic. There was an accident on the main road. He's 30 minutes away. Mia's heart dropped. Outside, the music changed. Guests were being seated. The live stream was ready. Phones were out. Cameras were rolling. There was no time. Olivia shouted, 30 minutes? Are you crazy? I am not standing here half naked for 30 minutes. Mia, voice shaking. We could use safety pins, maybe? But if it tears on stage. Olivia screamed again. Olivia, I paid a fortune for this dress. This is all your fault. You had one job. She pushed some flowers off the table. They fell to the floor. Makeup artist stepped back, scared. Mia's hand shook. Tears came to her eyes. Mia, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll find someone. I'll fix this. I promise. She ran out of the room. Outside, near the back row, Grace heard the shouting. Guests turned their heads, whispering. Guest 1, what happened? Guest 2, I think something is wrong with the bride's dress. Grace looked toward the dressing room corridor. Her heart pounded. Grace, in her mind, a ripped seam? That sound. I know that sound. She thought of her mother. Her mother had been a brilliant seamstress. She had taught Grace how to sew and fix dresses by hand. Grace looked at her own old dress. She had carefully fixed it many times. Mia ran past her, crying and talking on her headset. Mia, find anything. A tailor, anyone who can sew. The wedding can't start like this. Grace stood up. Her hands were shaking, but this time not from fear, from a strange mix of fear and courage. Grace, softly to herself, if I don't try to help, I will regret it forever. She walked toward the dressing room. In the hallway, 2 security guards blocked the way. Guard, sorry, miss. This area is for staff and family only. Grace swallowed. Grace, please. I can help. I know how to sew. I fix my dress myself. I used to live with this family. Please. Mia turned, heard her, and walked over. Mia, desperate, you can sew? Grace nodded. Grace, my mom taught me. I'm not a professional, but I can fix a tear like that in minutes. It may not be perfect, but it will hold. Mia grabbed her hands. Mia, come with me. Now. They hurried into the room. Olivia spun around. Olivia, furious. Why is she here? She pointed straight at Grace. Olivia, I told you keep the charity case outside. Grace flinched but spoke softly. Grace, I can fix it. I know how. If you let me. Olivia laughed in disbelief. Olivia, you? In that old rag? You think I'll let you touch my designer gown with your cheap hands? Mia stepped in. Mia, Olivia, listen. The tailor is stuck. We have no one else. The guests are waiting. The live stream has started. Do you want to walk out with a tear in your dress? Olivia looked at the mirror. The tear was big and obvious. Her face twisted with rage. But fear was stronger. Olivia pointed a finger at Grace. Olivia, if you ruin my dress, I will sue you. Do you hear me? I will destroy your life. Grace's voice was small but steady. Grace, I understand. I'll do my best. Mia handed Grace a sewing kit. Her fingers closed around the needle and thread like they had a memory of their own. Grace knelt beside Olivia, very close to the white fabric. Everyone watched. Olivia muttered, Don't touch me more than you have to. Grace pretended not to hear. Her hands moved quickly, smoothly. She pulled the torn fabric together, hiding the seam under the pattern. She whispered under her breath, like she used to when helping her mother at midnight. Grace softly. In out, pull. Olivia's friends watched with wide eyes. Bridesmaid whispering, She actually looks like she knows what she's doing. Mia watched the clock. Outside, the host said, Ladies and gentlemen, the bride will be arriving shortly. Mia's voice shook. 2 minutes, Grace. We have 2 minutes. Grace did not look up. Her hands were fast but careful. Her eyes were focused. Her own old dress brushed the floor as she moved, the pink fabric touching the white gown that had been too perfect to accept it before. Grace tied the last knot and smoothed the fabric. The tear was gone. Grace, breathing hard, done. But one more thing. She looked at the design. Grace, your dress is very heavy at the bottom. That's why it tore when you bent. You need more support here. Before anyone could stop her, She took the scissors and snipped a tiny piece at the bottom layers, adjusting the weight, folding and tucking away that made the dress fall more nicely. Everyone gasped. Olivia screamed, "What are you doing?" Grace stepped back. "Grace, trust me. Now, when you walk, it will not pull at the side." Mia quickly checked the mirror. Her eyes widened. "Mia, Olivia, it actually looks better. The shape is perfect now." Olivia looked. Her dress did look more stylish now. The tear was gone. The new shape made her look taller, more elegant. For a second, she was speechless. But instead of saying thank you, she flipped her hair. Olivia, coldly, "Fine, you did your job. Now get out." Grace looked down. She nodded and turned to leave. But as she walked out, she did not know that someone had filmed the whole scene, from the insult at the door to the way she saved the bride's dress. And in just a moment, that video would play in front of everyone. Back in the hall, the lights dimmed. Soft music played. Daniel stood at the front, near the stage, his heart beating fast. His hands were sweaty. He looked around for Grace, but he could not see her. Mrs. Carter stood to one side, watching him closely. The big screens on the walls were ready to show a romantic slideshow of the couple's photos. The host spoke into the mic, "Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The bride is about to enter." Everyone clapped. Behind the doors, Olivia took a deep breath. Mia whispered, "You look beautiful. The dress is perfect. And please don't forget to thank the girl who fixed it." Olivia rolled her eyes. "Olivia, I'm not thanking a maid's daughter on my wedding day." The doors opened. Olivia stepped onto the red carpet, the dress flowing smoothly. The tear did not show. The new shape made everyone gasp. Guess, "Wow, look at her dress." Phones went up. Cameras clicked. Daniel smiled, relieved. He thought everything was okay now. Grace sat at the very back in the shadows, her hands clasped. She watched quietly. As Olivia walked down the aisle, the big screens lit up. Mia had prepared a slideshow of childhood photos, romantic videos, and sweet messages. But the wrong clip started. On the screens, there was not a romantic photo. It was a security camera view from the wedding entrance. The sound turned on. Everyone heard Olivia's voice echo through the hall. "Olivia on screen. Who invited you?" We said formal, not garbage sale. Gasps filled the hall. The screen showed Grace's face, hurt and small. Guests turned their heads to look at her in real time. Then, on the screen, they saw Olivia lift the dress with 2 fingers. "Olivia on screen. It looks older than my grandmother. This is my wedding, not a charity event." People covered their mouths. Some shook their heads. The video continued, now cutting to the scene in the dressing room, recorded by Mia's assistant, who had started filming to show the tale of the damage. On the screen, Olivia screamed at Mia, blamed everyone, called Grace cheap and charity case. Then it showed Grace fixing the dress calmly, saving the day while being threatened. Olivia on screen, "If you ruin my dress, I will destroy your life." And then Grace's soft voice. Grace on screen, "I understand. I'll do my best." The hall was completely silent. The only sound was Olivia's own cruel voice echoing again and again from the speakers. Olivia stopped walking. Her face went white. Daniel turned toward the screen, stunned. Mrs. Carter's eyes filled with tears. A child in the crowd whispered, "Why is she so mean?" An old guest shook his head. "Money without manners, so sad." Olivia looked at Mia with fire in her eyes. Olivia hissing, "Turn it off. Turn it off right now." Mia fumbled with the tablet. Mia, panicking, I didn't play this." Someone switched the file. It was meant for the tailor only. She finally managed to stop the video. But it was too late. Everyone had seen enough. Whispers turned louder. Guess 1. "Did you hear how she spoke to that girl?" Guess 2. "That was the maid's daughter, right? She used to live with Daniel's family." Guess 3. "And she fixed the dress? She saved the day and was still insulted." Daniel's jaw clenched. He stepped down from the stage and walked down the aisle, not toward Olivia, toward the back, toward Grace. Grace froze in her seat. Grace, Daniel? He stopped in front of her. Daniel, voice heavy with guilt. Grace, is it true? You're the one who fixed a dress. Grace shook her head quickly. Grace, it was nothing. They needed help, so I helped. Mrs. Carter joined them. Mrs. Carter, it was not nothing, child. You saved her from being embarrassed in front of everyone, even after what she did to you. Grace's eyes filled with tears. Grace, I didn't want anyone to laugh at her, even if she laughed at me. The hall heard that line. Many people looked down, ashamed. Some wiped their eyes. Daniel turned slowly to face Olivia. His voice was calm, but it shook with anger. Daniel, Olivia, why? Olivia's eyes were wild. Olivia, it was just a joke. People like her. I mean, look at her dress. She stopped. She saw Daniel's face. His eyes were full of pain. Daniel, do you know whose dress that is? Olivia swallowed. Olivia, what? Daniel pointed at Grace's old pink dress. Daniel, voice breaking. That dress belonged to my mother, Lily. She gave it to Grace. She asked her to wear it on a special day. You insulted it. You called it garbage. You insulted my mother's memory, and you insulted someone who has been nothing but kind to us. A loud gasp spread through the hall. Olivia's lips parted. Olivia, whispering, I didn't know. Daniel, you didn't even try to know. You just looked at her clothes and decided her value. He looked around at the guests. Daniel, louder. Grace's mother worked in our house for years. She raised me like her own son. Grace is not garbage. She is family. Tears streamed down Grace's face now. Olivia's eyes filled with tears too, but hers were from fear and shame. Olivia, voice trembling, Daniel, please. I'm sorry. I was under stress. The wedding, the dress. Daniel cut her off. Daniel, stress does not create cruelty. It reveals it. The words hit hard. Olivia looked around. Everyone stared at her. No one was smiling now. Her rich friends avoided her eyes. Mia looked crushed. Olivia, sobbing now. Please, can we talk about this later? Just, let's finish the wedding. We can fix this. Daniel shook his head slowly. Daniel, I don't want a wife who humiliates people, who thinks she is better than others because of money and brands. He looked at Grace again. Daniel, my mother always said, the real beauty of a person is how they treat those who can do nothing for them. He looked back at Olivia. Daniel, right now, I don't see beauty. I see pride. I see disrespect. Olivia's knees almost gave out. Olivia, reaching for him. Daniel, please don't do this. Everyone is watching. Daniel stepped back. Daniel, that's the point. They saw what you are, and they saw what Grace is. He turned to Grace. Daniel, softer. Grace, I'm sorry. I should have defended you earlier. I failed you, and I failed my mother's teachings. Grace shook her head. Grace, crying, you were scared. It's okay. Mrs. Carter put a hand on Grace's shoulder. Mrs. Carter, you still show more class than anyone in this room, my dear. Olivia fell to her knees on the red carpet, dress glittering under the lights. Olivia, crying loudly, please, Daniel, don't leave me like this. I love you. I'll change. I swear I'll change. The hall was silent again. Daniel closed his eyes. Daniel, quietly, I hope you do change, for your own sake. But I cannot promise you a life built on disrespect. Not today. He gently took off the wedding ring that he was supposed to place on her finger. He handed it to her. Olivia sobbed harder. Her makeup ran. The perfect bride image was broken. Instant karma. In front of all the people she had tried so hard to impress. Grace stepped forward. Grace, soft but clear. Olivia, I forgive you. Everyone turned to her. Grace's voice shook, but her eyes were calm. Grace, you were cruel to me. You insulted my dress. You insulted my mother's memory. But if I hold hate in my heart, then I become like you. I don't want that. Olivia looked at her through tears. Olivia, whispering, Why? Why are you being kind to me after everything I did? Grace, because someone once showed me kindness when I had nothing, and that changed my life. Maybe one day you will understand that too. Olivia covered her face and cried. The cameras were still on, but this time people were not laughing. They were thinking. Later that evening, the wedding did not continue as planned, but something else started. Mrs. Carter spoke to Grace. Mrs. Carter, you said you learned sewing from your mother? Grace nodded. Mrs. Carter, smiling gently, how would you like a scholarship, fashion school, and a job at our friend's boutique? You clearly have talent. Grace's eyes went wide. Grace, are you serious? Daniel, stepping in, you saved more than a dress today, Grace. You saved our family from making a huge mistake. The least we can do is help you follow your dream. Grace began to cry again, but this time they were tears of joy. She hugged Mrs. Carter tightly. Grace, thank you so much. In one day, the poor girl in the old dress had gone from being insulted to being honored, and the perfect bride in the expensive gown had learned the most painful lesson of her life. Sometimes, the people we look down on are the ones who hold our lives together. Never judge a person by their clothes or their status. Judge them by their heart. And remember, the way you treat small people shows how big you really are inside. Have you ever seen someone insult a person just because they look poor? What would you do if you were in Grace's place?